Stop trapping yourself in a tiny box. You are so limited by your own beliefs, by your own labels, by your own perceptions that you put on yourself and that you put on the world around you. In reality, in truth, you are infinite, but your perception is finite and your self-image is finite. And what does it truly mean to be infinite? Well, I couldn't even describe it in words because it is so vast. It is so just beyond perception. But the problem is that we try to basically cling to our ego. We try to cling to that I am this person right now at this space and time and I am nothing else. When in reality, when in objective truth, that's just not true. You are literally everything and every being. You are me, I am you, we are all this. You are this house, you are this book, The Law of One, great book, check it out. You are the trees, you are the oceans, you are the water. And I know you think that this guy's crazy, this all sounds crazy, but the only thing that is basically stopping you from realizing this is the limitations that your mind and your ego puts on you, the stories that you tell yourself. And you tell these stories often every single day that over time you really come to believe this. And I know that I once did, and it really took a long time of basically reprogramming my mind and getting rid of all the societal programming and all of the false limiting beliefs that have really held me back. And if you hold yourself in a tiny little box, you're only going to see that little tiny bubble of reality that you're in because you're scared to experience all that is and all that ever will be. And just because you're scared to experience it doesn't mean that you're not going to experience it. You have already experienced the vast infinity. You will continue after this lifetime to experience the vast infinity. But if you're just scared to, if you're like, fear is what is going to be holding you in this box. It's going to be trapping you in vibrations of fear, lack, anger, all the lower vibrations. You can think of it as kind of like a mountain or a ladder that you're climbing. And you're going to be held down in basically this lower octave, this lower vibrational beliefs if you cling to these, if you think that that's who you are. And I know that I used to be a very fearful person. I used to be very shy, and I never really questioned this. I just put these labels and these limiting beliefs on myself, and I said, that's who I am. I am this, and I will never change. And the more I started to meditate, and the more I started to view my thoughts more objectively as the observer and realize that I am not my thoughts, the more I realized how absurd and how outrageous these lies I was telling myself, but how I believed them. And I feel like you are the exact same way. We all believe these crazy thoughts that our mind tells us just because they repeat them enough that they basically wear us down. And they say, you are this tiny little box, this tiny little ego in an infinite world of millions and trillions of stars and galaxies, and we're all just basically a grain of dust in this cosmic beach. That was beautiful. Did not even plan on that, but you can't limit yourself in a box and think that you're separate from everybody else. And that's what your ego wants you to think. Your ego wants you to think that you're separate and that you need to be competing with other people, when in reality, you are everybody, we're all connected, and we should be collaborating as one, in love, in harmony, in peace. And that currently is not going on in the world right now, clearly because of all the hate, fear, and destruction that's running about. But we're also heading in that direction, as there's really been a huge shift in consciousness really in the last 30 or so years, where people, I wouldn't even say waking up, but people are kind of coming out of this dream of separation and realizing that we really are all connected, that there's really no limit to what we can accomplish while we're together if we work together. There's absolutely a limit to what we can accomplish if we're all fighting and all separate, and we're using all of our resources to make weapons and to try to enslave other people and to trick and deceive other people. That's just a misuse of our energy, a misuse of our resources. But this also has to come from the fact that not only are we limiting ourselves and trapping ourselves in a box, we're also limiting other people and trapping other people in boxes. And I'm not really even talking about the prison system. That's definitely the most easiest place to see that. You're literally trapping people in a box, but some people absolutely do deserve to go to prison for the safety and benefit of society. But then again, there are also a lot of people who are being imprisoned for 30 or so years for having a gram of marijuana or a gram of weed. I don't like the term marijuana. A gram of cannabis. Non-violent people going to jail. Maybe if you did a Ponzi scheme, you definitely deserve that. But non-violent people who sold a gram of cannabis illegally, who are they hurting in that scenario? But it's also putting labels on other people, how we try to judge people. We try to stop them from going after their dreams because we're not going after our own dreams. So maybe because we haven't succeeded in our lives, we want to see other people suffer, and we want to see other, it's just just saying this out loud, it's just crazy how we actually treat each other that way because we view ourselves as separate from them. We view ourselves in our own little box, and we view other people in their own little box over here, when in reality, there is no box, or if there is a box, it's so big, never ending, time bending, love bending. It's so ginormous that you will never ever see the outside of it because you are the outside of it, you are the inside of it, you are everything that is in there. Because, here's the kicker, as I've said before, you are infinite. You are everything. Everything is you. There is no separation between me and the air and this camera and a computer and a chair. It's all just in my mind. It's all just being projected. Everything is, for lack of better terms, everything is just energy. It's basically like a soup of energy, a soup of consciousness, a soup of light, and it's all just interacting with each other to make the magic show. Life is the grand magic show. And we think that magic doesn't exist because I don't know, that's what I used to believe. People would tell you that magic doesn't exist. Magic does exist. You think that you couldn't be fooled, that you're too smart, that this whole world couldn't just be an illusion, that you couldn't be fooled because you're too smart and you wouldn't let that happen to you. Well, I'm sorry to say, this could upend your worldviews, and if you get triggered by this, I'm sorry. This is also just my opinion, so please bear with me here. But I'm not I'm still in a box, but the box I've trapped myself in now is far bigger because I realized that I was trapping myself in such a tiny box. I was too afraid to express myself. I used to not make any art, and this reflected in my inner reality and my outer reality. I went through various mental health issues, such as suffering from anxiety and depression, and I was in such a low state of consciousness, such a low rate of vibration, where I was always living in fear and anger and hatred. And one day I just had enough. I realized, why am I feeling like this? I had never tried new things. I had never meditated before. I'm crying just thinking about this, but I had never meditated before, and meditating is just one thing that I recommend to you, is a way that I kind of broke out of this box that I was trapped in. It's really a way to let go of all these labels that you put on yourself, because the labels that you put on yourself are basically the edges of this box, and you realize that all these labels, they're all illusions. They're not permanent, they're temporary. So you realize that as you take away these labels, you're basically dismantling this box, this little tiny box that you trap yourself in. And some people are afraid to basically take these labels away, to take their box, because they get their sense of self, they get their identity from this box. And I can assure you that there's no reason to be scared of letting go of this box, because it's basically that you realize that you're in just an infinite field of light, and you're trapping yourself in a box of darkness. That's a great analogy, but it's honestly really what it is, that you're putting these labels on you that are trapping you in this little box of darkness because you're afraid of the light, and that fear is all in your mind, and you can still fear it and do it despite it. So if you can take one thing from this video, stop trapping yourself in a box with labels. These labels are all self-made, either imposed by yourself or imposed by others, and you believe them. And the more you get rid of these labels, the more you strip them away, the more you tear down this box and realize the vast infinity of who you are and what you're in right now, and you realize that that is all you. Thank you for watching this video. Remember, be kind to yourself. You know who you are. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up and subscribe down below. If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, I'm going to be making more videos like this. Hope you enjoy. Have a great day. Peace.